Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to introduce the subject of stylistics and stylistic devices. In the subject of stylistics and text interpretation, let's have introduced to stylistics. Stylistics is the study of styles in language, particularly how language choices convey meaning and evoke responses in different contexts. It examines elements like syntax, diction, figurative language, and tone to understand how they contribute to the aesthetic and effects of a text. Stylistics can be applied to various forms of writing, including poetry, prose, and speeches, analyzing how style shapes the reader's experience and interpretation. Importance of stylistics plays a crucial role in both linguistics and literary studies for several reasons. For example, in the textual analysis or in the interpretation of meaning and cultural insights and in disciplinary connections and also reader's response. Let's have the history of stylistics. Stylistics is derived from the Greek word stylos, which means pointed stick made of bone. Means the ancient Greeks wrote with a pointed stick on a waxed board. The top of the stick was like a shovel. This erased the wrongly written words by smoothing the wax on the board with a shovel-like side of stick and corrected it with a pointed side. Ancient Greek and Roman scholars like Aristotle and Cicero laid a groundwork by analyzing persuasive language. And stylistic linguistics like Michael Alexander Kirkwood Holliday and Geoffrey Leach integrated linguistic theories with stylistic analysis, focusing on how language structure influences meaning. The objective of stylistics, analyzing language choice, examine how specific words choice and sentence structure contribute to different style. For example, in Shakespeare's Hamlet, the use of archaic language and complex syntax create the formal tone, while a contemporary dialogues, such as in a modern sitcom, simpler or more colloquial language reflects a casual style. Identifying patterns discover requiring patterns that characterize various style or genre. For example, in the genre of science fiction, authors often employ technical jargon and complex sentence structures to establish a futuristic tone, while romance novels may feature emotional language and straightforward narratives. Understanding language variations, there are examining social factors, investigated how social factors like a class, gender, and ethnicity impact language uses as stylistic choices. For example, in Zora Neale Hurston, their eyes were watching God. The use of African American vernacular English among the character convey cultural identity, and social context. Contrasting with the stylistic standard English used by more influent characters. Understanding contextual influence, explore how situational factors shape language. Variation of stylistic choices. For example, the difference between a formal speech at a conference using technical voice and formal structure, and a casual conversation at the coffee shop using a slang and informal phrases, illustrated how context influences language. Enhancing interpretation and facilitating comparative studies. Enhancing interpretation, deepen understanding how language variation affects meaning and interpretation. For example, in George Orwell's Animal Farm, the use of simple language in the allergic narrative contrasts with complex political themes, promoting readers to explore deeper meaning beneath of surface. Facilitating comparative studies across different language or cultural to uncover universal cultural specific features. For example, analyzing the use of metaphor in the poetry of Emily Dickinson comparing to that of Pablo Neruda reveals how different cultural contexts shape metaphorical expression and emotional resonance. Let's look at these key concepts in stylistics. There are so many concepts, but I will explain you three main concepts. First one, style. Style is a multifaceted concept that encompasses various linguistic and literary elements. Analyzing style allows for deeper understanding of how language ultimately enhances the appreciation of literature. Second one is register. Register refers to the variation in language use depending on the context, audience, and purpose of communication. Understanding the register helps analyze how language adapts to different situations. Genre. Genre provides a framework for the under how texts are shaped by convention, audience expectation, or cultural context. Readers and writers can better appreciate the nuances of language and style. Language and style. And now we should understand language and style. In the center of understanding how meaning is constructed or conveyed in the text. At first, language is a primary tool through which style is expressed. The choice of words, sentences, structures, and rhetorical devices directly shapes in the stylistic features of a text. For example, a poetic use language such as alliteration or metaphor enhances the aesthetic quality of the text. It's impacting the reader's experience. Second one, style. Style refers to the distinctive characteristic of language. Use that differences how a text expresses or perceives it, encompassing various linguistic elements or choice that contribute to the overall meaning and effect of the text. Stylistic devices. Stylistic devices enhance the richness of language, allowing writers to convey complex ideas and emotional effective. By analyzing devices, readers can gain deeper insight into the text or meaning and the author's intent, enriching their overall reading experience. Stylistic devices are a vital tool in communication, shaping how messages are conveyed and received. By enhancing clarity, engagement, and emotional resonance, these devices help create more effective and impactful interaction, whether in literature, speech, or everyday communication. Understanding their importance allows both writers and speakers to communicate more powerful or persuasive. There are so many types of stylistic devices, and I will mention you the main stylistic devices types. Don't look at these numbers, there are just numbers for taking the attention. In my opinion, the more one is lexical devices. Lexical devices are, by carefully selecting words and phrases, they can enhance clarity and creative imagery. The second one, figures of speech. Figures of speech are an essential tool in the effective communication, allowing writers and speakers to convey ideas more vivid or imaginative way. The third one is rhetorical devices. Rhetorical device techniques that writers and speakers use persuade, emphasize, and enhance their arguments. The next one is syntax and structure. In this section, the role of sentence structure in the style is crucial, as it significantly influences the clarity, rhythm, and overall impact of piece of writing. There are also three main types in sentence and structure. The first one is clarity, second one is rhythm, the third one is tone. Clarity, it's clear and straightforward, useful for conveying. As for the essential information, it allows for more nuances, ideas, but can become convoluted if not structured carefully. In rhythm, mixed short and long sentence can create dynamic rhythm that keeps readers engaged. Longer sentence can slow down and reader, while shorter one can quicken the pace. In tone, sentence structure contributes that overall tone. Short direct sentence can create an informal tone, while longer, more complex sentence may feel more formal. Stylistic features. In stylistic features, fundamental elements of stylistics that expresses the meaning, tone, and impact of the text. By carefully selecting words and considering their connotations and contextual appropriateness, writers can enhance their communication, engage their audience, convey deeper meaning. Understanding diction enables both writers and readers to appreciate the nuance of language more fully. Formal or informal affect tone or audience engagement. Technical or everyday reflect subject matter and complexity. Contextual factors refer to various elements surround a piece of communication that influence its meaning, interpretation, and effectiveness. Understanding these factors is crucial in stylistics and effective communication. By considering the cultural, historical, social, psychological, and physical, linguistical, and interpersonal factors and medium-related context, speakers and writers can tailor their message to achieve clarity, relevance, and impact. Stylistic in poetry. In this subject, in this part, stylistic in poetry involves the careful analysis of language and structure to uncover how poets create meaning, evoke emotion, and engage readers. By examining these elements, one can gain a deeper appreciation of poetic artistry and techniques that make poetry a powerful form of expression. Stylistics in prose. In this section involves analyzing how language and structure works together to create meaning, develop characters, and engage readers. By examining these elements, readers can gain deeper appreciation of the craftsmanship in prose and techniques that authors use to convey their message effectively. In diction, the choice of words and phrases, diction influences the tone, character, voice, and setting. Authors may choose formal, informal, colloquial, technical language depending on context and audience. For example, the use of vivid sensory words can create strong atmosphere. Stylistic analysis, the methodology. In this section, we will analyze the stylistic of methodology. Stylistic analysis is a systematic approach to examine the language and feature of a text to understand how they contribute the meaning, tone, and overall effect. Pick a poem, short story, novel concept, or any piece of prose that interests you. At first, you have to read the text, making notes on language, structure, and devices. Highlight words, phrase, and section that stand out. And then you have to analyze word choices, including the connotations and denotations. Next, you have to consider formal or informal language. Then you have to examine the sentence structure, including length, complexity, and punctuation. And then you have to identify sensory description and their effect on the readers. And then you have to note metaphor, similes, and personification. Then you have to look for alliteration, assonance, rhyme, or rhythm. Finally, you have to organize your analysis into sections based on different elements. The role of stylistic in communication. Stylistics is integral to effective communication as it shapes clarity, emotion, impact, and audience engagement. By understanding and employing various stylistic devices, communicate can enhance their message, foster connection, and navigate complexity of language and context. Stylistics help in selecting words, structure, and convey meaning clarity and precisely. For example, in technical writing, precise terminology ensures that complex ideas are understood without ambiguity. The stylistic choice made in language reflects the speaker's or writer's attitude toward the subject and audience. Stylistics in translation. This is the main part of the stylistics. That's why we are learning in this section, in this subject. Stylistics in translation is vital for the preserving the enhance of original text while making it accessible and meaningful to the target audience. Translators must navigate various stylistic elements, cultural contexts, and linguistic nuances to create a translation that reflects both authors' intent and resonated with the readers. Stylistic features include diction, tone, and imagery and other devices that convey meaning and emotion. In importance, translators must identify these features to maintain author's original voice and interpretation. Diction and word choice can significantly affect tone and meaning. Translators must consider ideas, cultural nuances. For example, a word with a positive ideas in one language may have neutral or negative connection in another. At the end of this part, corpus stylistics. We should learn in this section what is corpus stylistics. Corpus stylistic is a methodological approach that combines the principle of stylistics with the corpus language. It involves analyzing large collection of the text corpora to explore linguistic features and stylistic pattern within those texts. The study of style in language through the analyzing of language electronic text corpora It focuses on identifying patterns and trends in language used across different texts and genres. For example, authorial style analyzing the distinctive feature of the author's language, such as the figurance of specific syntactic structures of logical choice. In thematic analysis, exploring how certain themes are expressed through the stylistics choice in various texts, such as the portrayal or love or conflict. That's all in this topic. In conclusion, I want to say that stylistic is a vital field of study that examines the intricate relationship between language and meaning, focusing on how specific linguistic choices contribute to the overall impact of the text. As we learn the various elements of stylistics, we uncover the layer of meaning embodied within the language, leading to more profound appreciation of the art of writing. This foundation understanding sets the stage for further investigation into the diverse application and implication of stylistic analysis in the various texts. This is all for today. Thank you for your attention. You can comment in these socials. Goodbye.